In today's iPad session, there was some interest in using Socrative, so this mini tutorial will show you how to get started using Socrative with your iPads, your student devices, or a computer. So the first thing you need to do is go to a computer, open up a web browser, and log on to www.socrative.com. And it'll bring you to a screen that looks like this. You'll notice that there is a student login as well as a teacher login. So if you're taking your students to the computer lab or the students are accessing this website through their devices, they're going to select the student login. They will not need a username and password. They will use your classroom number in order to join your session. Once you've created an account, then you will log in with the teacher login. If you have downloaded the apps onto your device, you'll notice that there is a teacher app and a student app. And depending on the role of the person using the device, you'll need to download the appropriate one if you're using a phone or an iPad. If you're accessing Socrative through the computer, you can just come to this site and select the appropriate login. So if you're using Socrative for the first time, you're going to select the blue Sign Up button. And all it requires is for you to put in an email and a password, and then it instantly will create the account. So I'm going to log in with my information. And remember, we're logging into the teacher account. So you're going to see something very different if you're logged in to the student account. You'll notice that when Socrative opens, there will be a number here that says my room number. When the students are trying to connect with you, they will be prompted for a room number, and this is the room number that you'll share with them. As students join your room, you'll notice that this number, the students in the room, will go up. And if every student in the room is connected to your session, then ideally you'll have the same number of students in your virtual room as you have in your physical room. There's 3 types of questions that we can use very quickly to get information from our students. We can do a multiple choice question, a true-false question, and a short answer. Now these are going to be really quick. Maybe they're in a slideshow, maybe it's a verbal question that I ask, and then I'm going to push out to the students' devices or to their computer a way for them to answer the question. So if I want to ask them a multiple choice question, I'll select multiple choice, and this is what the teacher interface looks like. The student interface will give them buttons for A, for B, for C, for D, for E, and then they'll pick the appropriate response and submit. And once they've done that, you're going to get an answer showing up here. There's no setup for that within the program. You just ask the question, select the kind of question answers that you want them to have, or the type of answers that they want to have, and then you'll be given the response back from the kids. The same is true for the true-false question. I could verbally ask a true-false question, and then I push out to the students' devices true and false, and then they could submit their answer. There's a button in the top left-hand side called the main screen, and that always takes you back here. Now my last single question activity option is a short answer, and when I select short answer, the students will get a field on their device that they can type in their answer, and then those responses will show up on your screen. Now I probably wouldn't be displaying what you're seeing right now if I was using this in the classroom. I would be watching it on my own iPad or my own computer. The students don't need to see what I'm seeing, but for you to manage the program, you will need to have this on a device. Now with the single question activities, you will not see the responses, who they come from. If you're wanting to actually have students' responses connected to them. Maybe you're grading, maybe you want to just give a pre-test or a post-test and see how that each student is doing specifically, then you're going to want to create a quiz. Now you can create a quiz by going to the Manage Quiz option. You can create a quiz from scratch, and then you select the type of question that you want. I'm going to select multiple choice, but I could select short answer as well. Now once I selected multiple choice, it opened up fields for me to enter. So I'm going to first do a question. Let's see, the mascot for Calhoun High School is, and then I'm going to give some options. Are we the Bulldogs? Are we the Sharks? Are we the Sand Crabs? Are we the Eagles? Notice that I have up to 5 possible answer choices. Now I'm going to mark the correct answer by check marking next to the correct answer, and then I move on to the next question. I could choose another multiple choice question, or just for grins, I'm going to do a short answer. So in this one, I just would type in my question itself, and the students would get a blank to type in their answer. What year will you graduate from CHS? Now once I have added all the questions I want to add, then I'm going to scroll down and select the Save button. My screen capture window is not quite large enough for you to see it, but there's a blue Save button at the bottom. And I'm going to click Save. I need to make sure that I have a quiz name so that it can find the quiz later. So it told me, oops, you left off the name. So I'm going to try to save that quiz again. And I get a little pop-up that says I have created the quiz. And now when I go to my list of quizzes, I'm going to see it show up as a quiz that I can send to my students. If I go back to that main screen and scroll down to the quiz-based activities, I can start a quiz by selecting Start Quiz. And in order to give the quiz to the kids, I need to have already entered the quiz through the Create Quiz Manager earlier. So I'll use the drop-down menu to select the quiz that I want to send out to my kiddos. I'm going to use CHS Trivia. And then the next thing I do is I decide, is it going to be a student-paced quiz? Am I going to let the kids work at their own pace? Or do I want it to be a teacher-paced quiz where I deliver the questions one at a time? As soon as I select which type of quiz I want, then it will push that out to the student device, and then they'll start getting questions. The first question, the default first question, is always their name. So you don't have to put the name as the first question in your quiz. It's going to automatically ask them for it. Now I have some advanced quiz options that if I wanted to add, then I could. They're not necessary. It just depends on how complicated you want to make it. So I'm going to send out a quiz. Now, because I have absolutely no one in my room, you'll notice that there are no students in my room. No one is completing the quiz because there's no one currently connected to me. If I was delivering this instruction in class, I would see a number of people who had completed the quiz next to a number of the people that are taking the quiz. And the number taking it should match the numbers of students in your room. Now, once you have watched the students' progress, seen that everyone has completed it, then you select End Activity and you get the option to either download or email a report to yourself. And that report will contain the student's name and their answers for each part of the quiz. This is great documentation for if you're going to use that quiz as a grade. This is where you would get your answers to see how many kids got it right, got it wrong, who answered what question specifically. Now, if I wanted to offer that quiz in another format, then I could use it as, say, an exit. I could make an exit ticket so I could have the students answer certain questions or do certain things before they get out of my classroom. Or I could use the space race option to make it an interactive game between groups in the class. There's lots of possibilities for using Socrative in your classroom, especially if you have the iPad to help to drive it and your students are on their own devices, or you take them to the computer lab. This is a great free option for a student response system. So lots of ways that you can use it. Notice that at the top it says reminder, Socrative is limited to 50 users per activity. So that means that you would only be allowed to use it for 50 kids at a time. I'm guessing you'll never have a class of 50 students. At the end of the session, you're going to want to make sure you scroll all the way down to the bottom and select clear room, because that's going to kick everyone out of your room so that it's open for the next group of students to come in. So if you're going to do this same quiz more than one class period, make sure you clear your room before you start it for this next class period. Each activity, each time students take your quiz, you'll get a different report. It won't all be on the same report. They'll be independent, but you'll need to clear the room before you can start the next group. If you have any more questions on how to use Socrative, please contact me. My classroom is W403. My email is wyattj@calcoisd.org. Shoot me an email for a question. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you have a lot of fun this year using technology in your classroom. Have a great year.